Welcome to 20 Minutes with Mike, brought to you by Legal Ease, the ultimate guide on how to survive a law practice. The Chastain Law Office of Gold River, California, and Barking Frogs, your best source for race swag. Go bigger and louder. Now here's your host, Mike Chastain.
Welcome to 20 Minutes with Mike. I think we've got a great show today. I'm going to be talking about journaling. I talk about it a lot in my book, Legalese, the ultimate guide, how to survive a practice. I think I blogged about it several times. I discuss it in the morning routine, and I talk about, journaling as one of the options. But it seems to me that, a lot of people are like, yeah, Mike, that all sounds great, but how do I do it? So I want to talk to you about how I do it and hopefully give you some ideas. So let's get started. As I was journaling this morning, a thought flashed through my mind. It was renew, continue, or begin again. And I think that is kind of where we are every day. We're either renewing what we're doing, we're continuing what we're doing, or we're beginning again. Years ago, I took some ski lessons from the North American Ski Training Center up in Truckee. Chris Fellows, great instructor. If you ever want some really high-end ski instructing, contact them. NASDAQ. Chris Fellows is a wonderful instructor, and all the people that he worked with, they were all great. But what Chris told me was that skiing is simply a series of recoveries. This idea that every single turn is going to be absolutely picture perfect is a misnomer. That's kind of the goal. That's where you want to get to. I've posted some skiing videos that E and I took when we were up in Heavenly a couple weeks ago. And, from the outside, it looks like those turns are really solid, and they are. But I can tell you internally, I know when, the turns not all that good, or, it feels like I can feel the recovery and life is kind of like that. Life is a series of recoveries. Things don't always go exactly the way you want. There's adjustments and recoveries that need to be made. So what's that got to do with journaling? Well, I think journaling is a really important component for, this concept of renewing your commitment to what is it you're doing, continuing on with what you're doing, or beginning again. So let's just start backwards a little bit. How many times have you said, hey, I want to do something. Let's say I want to meditate every day, and then you miss 3 days in a row. Or, I want to exercise. Maybe more people would relate to that. I want to have an exercise routine, and I'm going to exercise, 4 days a week or 5 days a week. And then you miss a whole week. Or you go on vacation and, you get outside of your routine. Or you are, taking guitar lessons and you miss a week because, you're up skiing, like happened to me the other day. Not a horrible thing but the truth is I got out of the habit. So we are always or often beginning again, right? We set up a course of conduct that we want to do. We want to make an improvement. We're working, at our job, we're doing something, and then we miss our committed time for whatever reasons. It might be a good reason, it might be a bad reason, it doesn't matter. But you have to begin again. You got to kind of jump back on the horse and go, okay, I missed that, but I got to get going again. So the beginning again is an important component. A journal can help you with that. Continuing on with what you're doing. So I currently have a streak. I don't know. I'm almost at 70 days, I think, of meditating in a row. My journal has really helped me with that as just a reminder. Hey, Mike, don't forget to do that, or renew in that. I'm doing something and I want to make some improvements. How can I do that? And a journal is a great way to help you with that. And then finally, I'm blanking on who said this, but somebody said, um, I think it was Zig Ziglar who said, any life worth living is worth recording. Or I'm paraphrasing it probably, but the truth is that a journal is a great way to record what has gone on in your life. And I know I often will go back to my old journals and go, what was I doing a year ago? And um, be pleasantly surprised at, or maybe concerned, but uh, I'll be surprised at the fact that I didn't remember that. And I'll read something and go, oh yeah, I was in New York a year ago, or I was, traveling here, or this is what was going on in my business, or this is what was going on in my life. These were the things that I was concerned about then. And sometimes I'm still concerned about those, or sometimes, like we've rolled right past that and we're, moving forward in a great way. So, journaling can really fill in a lot of those gaps. It does not have to be time consuming, although I would expect that if you were going to do any meaningful journaling, you probably need to give it 10 minutes a day. But listen, everybody's got 10 minutes. I have never met anybody on the planet who truly didn't have 10 minutes. So what I want to do is I want to just go over and give you an example of how I do it. And I'm certainly not saying that this is the only way, because it certainly isn't. As many people as there are probably as many different ways to journal. But hopefully this will kind of give you some ideas of the value of it. And let me just kind of start with the accoutrements, right? So I use a bullet journal. And if you want to know more about bullet journaling, there's a book called Bullet Journals, and I think the guy who wrote is Carol Ryder, and he kind of lays out his theory of a bullet journal. But fundamentally, a bullet journal is one without lines. They're just little bullet points. And what's nice about that, and the reason that I like it, is that, as you can see, I can put a calendar in here. I do that every single week. I also do the month, as you can see. I write out the month. I also will keep so this page is called Money Trends. I'm tracking my financial situation. I'll keep lists of books. I'm not a big artist, so I'm not going to be doing a lot of drawing, but it gives you the opportunity to do that. I use it oftentimes, especially if I have, something that is really important to me. This was a thought that I thought was important, so I highlighted it and colored it. So using a bullet journal is a great way to go. Lines are fine, but to me, lines were just kind of restricting. I liked the freedom of not having lines, and I thought that that's what a bullet journal would really bring to the table. There is a whole, and the other thing that's nice about a bullet journal is that all the pages are numbered. So you can have, and what I have used is, an index on where certain things are. I obviously don't use the index a great deal. You could certainly use it a whole lot more than I do. There's multiple pages of it. There's also a future log if you wanted to track your months. I used to do that. I didn't find it to be all that useful. But, I've experimented over the years. So, the first thing is have a nice journal. When we were, I think we were in Sedona, and we found these covers, these beautiful leather covers. And so E has one. Hers is blue and it's got stars and stuff. Mine has forest, because that really resonated with me. But my point is that make your journal something that, that is pleasing aesthetically to you, something that you want to have with you. I carry this everywhere. I take this with me to court. I take it on vacation. It's not just a book on the shelf. This is my journal, and so make it something that you really like. Um, the writing instrument. I think the writing instrument's important. I am a big fountain pen guy. I have lots of just really really nice fountain pens from Mont Blancs, and other kinds of fountain pens. Um, I find for me that uh, narrow nib pens work best on the journal because when you use a medium or even a wide nib, you tend to get more smearing. But that's just me. But my point is have a pen, and I use multiple pens, so I don't just use one single pen. Although I will maybe use a particular pen for several weeks or months even. Um, I'm just reaching over here to grab this. This is a beautiful wooden fountain pen. It has a great weight to it. It's a narrow nib. I really like using this one. This was not a terribly expensive one. This one I found it at a shop. This is a medium nib. This is a great pen. Also, it has a nice weight to it. Um, the point is have a pen that or multiple pens that you really like. I have some inexpensive fountain pens that I use. If they write well and they just have a nice feel to it, uh, you know, the experience of writing, I guess the point that I'm getting to is the two things that I've talked about so far is the journal itself and the writing instrument should be part of the experience. It should be a joyful experience. You look forward to writing because you've got this great pen and this great book to write in. And so you just, the experience should be positive. You want it to be positive or you're not going to do it, right? All right, so let's get down to some of and then the other thing is I use color pencils and these kind of crayon thing, like crayons for the coloring. As you can see, I color code certain things. Like for example, just the way I do when I do my calendar, blue is court appearances and yellow are things that have to be done in the office. And then I just color coded it, do colors, the colors that are fun to me. There's not a whole lot, So here's orange and green, for example. I'll highlight things in different colors if I think that it's something that I want to remember. I do highlight the days, just the day of the week to start, just because it makes it easier to go through. If you're artistic, great. If you're not, maybe you don't want to do that. But to me, that kind of adds some fun to it. It also makes it easier for me to find things if I'm looking for information in here. If it's something important, like I said, I'm going to highlight it, or I'm going to circle it, or I'm going to color it in some way. And I'm noticing, I haven't done a ton of that this month. Here's another one that I highlighted in green, just so when I'm thumbing through this or looking at it's something that will remind me to do that. Okay, so what kind of things can you journal? Well, it's up to you, right? What is important? I like to put in the highlights of each day, so the important things that I feel like I did in any particular day. Things that went well at work, things that didn't go well at work. I think that journaling things that didn't go well are just as important. But let me just tell you what my routine is. So I generally start Friday or Saturday for the preceding week. I'm always talking about being intentional. What I do is I hand draw out, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And I go through my calendar and I hand write in the things that are time specific. So the court appearances or appointments that I have. And then the day specific things. So the things that I definitely want to get done in that day, including, as you can see down here at the bottom, there's little notes for the exercise I want to do. I want to do yoga. I wanted to do a power zone ride. Here was another power zone endurance. Here was yoga. Now, did I do all of those? No, I didn't. But I planned that. It was intentional the week before. So, and I talk about acting intentionally in another podcast. So you might want to check that out. Um, the reason I handwrite it out, and this is where I start, is it really gives me a visceral idea. Okay, this is really what next week looks like. These are the things that are kind of etched in stone, the appointments that I have. For me, of course, court appearances are things that are difficult to change. So those are critical. And then these are the other things, the day specific things that need to get done, and how do I mesh those? And if I've done, what we call a mind dump, where I've written out, all the things that need to get done, and I start looking, hey, I got to go to the Yolo County Jail with an interpreter to go see somebody. Where am I going to fit that into this? And that's really one of the most important things. Where am I going to fit the things that need to be done into this calendar? And for me, by handwriting it out, I have an electronic calendar that gets maintained and reviewed all the time, but it's actually the handwriting it out that kind of cements it in my brain. This is really what's going to happen when I write out a court appearance. I'll have a better feel for is this a big deal, or is this going to be one of those quickies? All right. One of the key things that has been really helpful for me, and I've seen lots of different ways to do it, is this box down here in the bottom. And what this box in here, you probably can't read it, but it says exercise, intention, exercise, meditation, intention, gratitude, read, music, and money. And these are things that I want to do every single day. I want to exercise every day. I want to have my meditation every day. I want to set my intention each and every day. I want to do my gratitude journal every day. I want to read every day. I want to at least pick up the guitar. Even if it's only for 5 minutes, I want to do that every day. And then, as I've talked about, and I'm not necessarily advocating this, but I look at my bank account every day, and that's what the money is to remind me. And then I put Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday across with little circles. And then when I get those things done, I just fill them in. When I didn't get something done, I see this big hole. So, for example, on this week, the 1st of March, I didn't do my gratitude journal on a Saturday, and I know that. Okay, is it a big deal? No, it's not. But I'm aware of that. I did not read on Friday. Generally, though, I fill all these in. These are reminders. Okay, that's really helpful to me. You might call that a little bit anal retentive maybe, but I'm a big fan of reminders and checking off the box. Yeah, I did that. Now, I don't think that you should be reading or doing your gratitude journal or setting your intention simply to check off the box. I think it needs to be more than that. But this is one of those things that just reminds me and keeps me on track. It works for me. I'm not saying it would work for everybody else, but it works for me. It gives me that reminder. It might be drinking water, it might be going for a walk, it might be making that difficult phone call, whatever you put in there. Then in the morning you'll typically see I put what time I got up, and I've talked about the fact that I don't use an alarm clock, which is always interesting because the time that I get up seems to be the time that I need to get up. I haven't missed anything important for a long time, even though I don't use an alarm clock. I'll put in there that I did my meditation and any insights that I had. I'll do my intention, which is simply, it's kind of like a to-do list, but it's, thank you for this successful meeting where I achieved this result. So I'm really setting the intention and I'm writing it down. And then I used to do my gratitude journal in here. I use a separate journal now just because it's easier. And then I'll talk about, other things that are important going on. And then, I'll talk about whatever my exercise was. I will also talk about something big that happened, and just whatever happened in the day that might be important, and any thoughts that I've had, any epiphanies, any ideas. As you can see, most of the journal entries are this was the March 5th on a Friday. It's short. There's not a lot here. Saturday, again, it's not even a full page. Sunday, there was more on that day, the 8th. I haven't colored it in, but my point is that your entries and your journaling doesn't have to be a big task. It doesn't have to be, and it shouldn't be something that you dread. It should be something that you actually look forward to every day. And that's, again, why having a great journal and a really nice writing instrument, so that it's just a joy. I really like putting the words on the paper. It just has a great feel to it. So in any event, guys, I hope that this has been helpful. If you've had, if you have questions about journaling, you can always send me an email, and I'd be happy to either address it through one of these blogs or in some other fashion. You can hook me up or you can connect with me at mikechastain.com or michaelchastain.com. That gets you to our webpage. And then there's contacts off of that. But remember, we are always renewing, continuing, or beginning again. And a journal is just a perfect way to really help you with that. So, as I always say, be grateful for what you got and be willing to work for what you want. We'll see you next time. Thanks a lot. Take care.